Stillwater went up to Broken Arrow, some good Oklahoma high school wrestling. It was mostly Stillwater. They had two Ferraris. They had Teague Travis, some other names I'm forgetting, but some high school stars. And Broken Arrow's got a couple ranked guys too. So pretty fun dual meet. And Bray was road warrioring.
Teague Travis, his dad wrestled at Mizzou.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Little FYI.
Yeah. So he's driving back.
Wow.
I'm filling in. Thanks, David. I'll keep the seat warm for you.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Don't keep it too warm.
The renegades of this time and age, I like to think of us, the whole show.
Okay, whatever that means. Let's bring on our first guest. It is Mason Parris from the University of Michigan. Mason, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, man. Thanks for joining us. And a lot of things I want to talk about, but I guess we'll just start with the recent. Let's go like the RTC Cup. And we get into the specifics of it, but like, when did you first hear about this event that was going to happen, and what did you think?
Yeah, our coaches mentioned something like a few weeks prior, and it sounded like a amazing idea. I missed wrestling in the duels. It's been a while, and it was awesome to be able to be on the team with a lot of the guys that are out of college. And I knew we were going to bring a really good team, and it was going to be like a really fun competition.
Compare wrestling in a duel versus like something like senior nationals or even CKLV. But at least at CKLV, there's a team aspect. The senior nationals is pretty much just you have teammates, but there's no team score, right?
Yeah, so like at senior nationals, like I try to focus on myself more. I don't watch too many of the other people, like my other teammates' matches. I still root for them. I still want them to win. But it comes like during duels, it's a little different aspect, and you're really cheering on your teammates. You really want them to win, and I think it's having my teammates on the side cheering for me and all my coaches, yelling for me is awesome, and just really motivating for me. And it was a really cool experience to be able to do that.
Was there much difference between like the aside from the setup and it being small with no fans, but like I guess the feel of the RTC duels versus like a Michigan duel, Michigan versus whoever?
Yeah, I mean that was my first real competition without any like a bunch of spectators, and it was pretty much just my teammates cheering for me, pretty much. But that was pretty cool. It was definitely a little different from like having the crowd yelling at you, cheering for you, and but it was still a really cool atmosphere to be in that. It was kind of really personal to be like right across from the other team and being able to hear everything they said, everything their coaches said.
To that, one of my favorite lines was Logan Massa. I assume you heard, maybe not, but I don't even remember what match it was. But the time was running down. There was like 15 or 20 seconds left, but the clock went out. He immediately stands up and goes, "There's 45 seconds left," and it was like
Yeah.
silent. It was freaking hilarious.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
the crowd of what it was you got front row seats to every comment from every coach and guys on the bench, and there was a big contrast too. You guys brought one of the biggest teams, so you think that helped give you a little bit of edge on having just extra guys rooting for you?
Yeah, I think it definitely helped. We brought a pretty big team, and having all those guys cheering you on was really helpful. And I think we were one of the louder teams, so like it was a lot of fun to go out there and compete for my team.
Yeah, and I actually want to go back quite a ways to like the end of the NCAA season, and well, I guess let's start there. When did you like when everything starts getting shut down? There's no fans, and then I think the NBA and whatever else like canceled their seasons. Were you still like holding out hope that they were going to have the NCAA tournament? Or were you pretty like? Did it seem inevitable that they were going to cancel it?
Yeah, I definitely didn't expect them to cancel the NCAA tournament. Like it was a really big surprise for me. But like coming down to the last few days, I knew it was like a possibility, and but like I just felt like that was the worst case scenario, and I really just didn't want that to happen. And it was horrible when that actually happened. I really wanted to wrestle NCAs, and it just like sucks really bad that I lost an opportunity to be able to try to be an NCAA champ again.
Sure. Um, where were you when you found out? Like, was it were you at practice? You get a text from coach or a call or something that there's no tournament.
Yeah, so they actually made us do an entire practice. So we did an entire practice, and right after the practice, Coach Bourmet was in the meeting the entire time, and he called us all into the locker room right after practice and told us that we weren't going to have a tournament, and and like sorry to all the seniors, and it was just it was tough.
How did you react?
I was really upset at first, like it just it was like I didn't really want to believe it at first because it was a lot to take in,
Yeah.
It just, you work so hard for the NCAAs, and that's like one of the most important things to you during the season. A lot of people remember where you end up at the NCAA tournament, and it just is awful to lose an opportunity like that for you to lose your goals and stuff. So like we had to stay together as a team and support each other and try to get through that.
Um, what did you do after that? Did you go home? Did you stay in Ann Arbor for a while? And what did you do in the media? And then like what did you do over the next few months?
Yeah, so we were in Ann Arbor for a little bit. They kind of shut everything down pretty quick, and they basically told us, "Hey, you guys need to go home for a little bit." And we were like, "Okay, we're gonna be home for a week or two. We're gonna be able to come back. We're gonna be able to practice. We're gonna be able to start training." And then we went home for a little. I went home for a little bit. Had to finish up school at home, and then they never gave us a time we could come back pretty much, and it just kept extending longer and longer the longer we were in quarantine, and we couldn't get back here, and it was not fun being stuck at home all the time and not being able to go anywhere, and I really wanted to train really bad, so.
Were you able to do any makeshift training, Rocky style training, and I don't know, pull ups or you have home weights or hit the streets running?
Yeah, luckily I got a hold of a like a little bench press thing, which I was able to lift a lot in my garage and stuff, and it was really good. And I was, running a lot of the hills at my house. I was, trying to find anything I could, try to get a workout in, try to break a sweat, and try to stay in shape.
Um,
What was the most creative thing you did workout wise?
My dad helps me out through a lot of the workouts, but I mean, I we have like a little dam. We have a pond at our house. We have like a little dam next to it, and I would run up and down those every day. Carrying weights and trying to see how fast I could go up and down those while like having as much weight as possible.
All
and
right.
then the cool off, you just jump in the pond, right?
Yeah, I actually did.
that's, that's
That's
awesome. Did you feel at the RTC Cup? You look great. So did you feel a lot of these events and competitions when they were coming back? You could kind of tell who was maybe not working out as much as the other. I thought just about everybody at the RTC Cup looked in phenomenal shape. Did you feel that you were prepared and ready at that point?
Yeah, I felt really ready. I was training for, a while for that. It's been really good. We've been practicing freestyle a lot, so I think it's been a lot of fun practicing freestyle. And I've been in pretty good shape. I've been practicing really hard, trying to, working with Sergey and Coach Bourmet and Coach Terrell has been awesome. They helped me out a lot in freestyle, and I was watched a lot of film, and I was mentally and physically prepared to wrestle.
Sticking with the freestyle theme, your team, the Cliff King Wrestling Club in particular, you have multiple Olympians on there. Estevan and Miles are both already qualified and will be representing Serbia and San Marino respectively. You have Sergey Belaglazov, who's an absolute legend and has more Olympic and world golds than you can count. And you have, and you show up to something like the RTC Cup with a deep squad and lots of guys helping there. And then you come out with large numbers to senior nationals when you came back, and everybody else, Logan Massa, all the people on the team are seem to be really in that freestyle groove. Talk about that emphasis of having that and how that's going to help, with these competitions and keeping you sharp going forward.
Yeah, it's awesome, the atmosphere and everything, the stuff we have here at, Michigan to, be able to practice freestyle, and, you know, freestyle, rubs off so much on folk style. So I think, we're going to have a great season this year. We're going to take this momentum we have from, freestyle season and all the freestyle stuff. And we're hoping to do, really well in this folk style season because freestyle helps so much out with folk style. I've gotten so much better at folk style from wrestling freestyle, and it's going to be an exciting year for us.
When did you like? Well, when did you first wrestle freestyle? When did you like first get serious about freestyle? And maybe it's the same. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I wrestled. I never really wrestled freestyle too much because I was always in football and I did track. I did some other sports when I was at the time all through high school, and so I never got like too seriously into freestyle. I practiced it a little bit, but I started. My senior year of high school, I was I wanted to wrestle Fargo. I wanted to see how I would do. I bumped up to heavyweight. I was weighing about 220, but I was wrestling heavyweight in college, so I wanted to bump up and wrestle heavyweight at Fargo. See how I did, and that was a good tournament for me. I really didn't know what I was doing. I didn't understand the scoring at all. I was just going out there and wrestling, and like I would like have to check up at the scoreboard and like be like, how did that happen, but
Well, it
but
worked
yeah,
out pretty good.
yeah, I did. So yeah, and then I came to college. The coaches put a big emphasis on freestyle. It was great to be able to travel or train year round, and I learned so much from my coaches, and it was awesome.
Now, you recruited for football as well and received some offers. Are the Michigan coaches right now? You getting any feelers from them saying, "Hey, we could use some help"? And I know it's been a difficult season for all teams with COVID, but have they still tried to recruit you and bring you over to the team?
Maybe like it's definitely a possibility for me. I think it'd be really cool. It'd be a really cool experience for me to be able to do that. But we'll I kind of am just trying to see how everything plays out. But I mean, I guess it's a possibility.
Sure.
Coach Bormet probably keeps you real busy the whole time. Sorry, he's got Junior Worlds, he's got these tournaments, so yeah, he wants to keep you in that wrestling room as much as possible.
Yeah, he definitely wants to.
So you were like highly recruited from football as well, right? And you had at some point you had to make a decision. Did you ever think like I'm going to play football in college? One, did you ever think that? And two, how did you go about making the decision?
Yeah, well, my entire life, I wanted to play football in college. My dad played football in college, and the whole reason he got me into wrestling was, you know, to get me better at football. So I started wrestling, and I was pretty good at young, and I did pretty well. And then coming my junior year, I was finally like, hey, like I think I want to wrestle in college now, and I think it's just better opportunities for me, and I can just really see myself excelling in wrestling, and I just felt like it was just a really good opportunity for me.
Was it because you could see yourself excelling, or was part of it because you just like wrestling more, or was it more because you thought you could do well?
Yeah, it was. I think it was more along the lines of like the difference between football and wrestling, I say, is like the individual aspect. I love the individual aspect. How much work I put in is how much I got out of it, and I just thought that was awesome. And I really just saw myself just I couldn't really see myself giving up wrestling like at that point in my life, and it was definitely a hard decision for me, but I definitely still think I made the right decision.
Sure.
Was there like a tournament or a result where you kind of it clicked, or maybe it was gradual, but where you thought, okay, like this is I can reach higher levels now. I'm ready to keep going on this path.
Yeah, well, Flow Nationals my junior year was a really big tournament for me. I That's when I started getting recruited pretty heavily after that tournament, and I never really wrestled too many individual things before. And after that tournament, I had a lot of coaches calling me, from a lot of amazing schools and stuff, and you know, Michigan being one of them. And it's just like it's really hard to turn down, such an amazing opportunity from Michigan too.
Sure. Um, when did you first hear about or understand what the Junior Worlds were? How long before like you went and tried to get on the team did you even know what the tournament was?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't too much before because my coaches were like, "Hey, we want you." I haven't wrestled much freestyle, and they're like, hey, like we want you to get some mat time at Junior Worlds. We want to see how you do. And I was like, awesome. Like, let's go. Let's get some mat time. And then I ended up going there and winning. And then I was like, all right, like I got to buckle down. I got to train really hard because I want to do really well at juniors.
Did winning at the Junior Worlds, like, were you surprised? Like, did you surprise yourself at all? Did you even know what to expect going in there against Russians and Eastern Europeans and everything else? Did you have any idea what to expect?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really know what to expect. It was my first international tournament ever, and you know I never had any experience with that kind of stuff before, but I was going in there with a lot of confidence. I didn't really know any of the guys, and I was just going out there and wrestling my hardest.
What is your favorite European capital city?
I'm not sure.
Look, you won a world championship in Tallinn, Estonia, but I thought maybe you'd have a soft spot for the capital of France, since you got Paris.
What's your favorite European capital
You got a
city?
point.
Madrid.
You just made that up.
Yes.
It just blows my mind. You like don't even know what Junior Worlds is, or you never even been there, and you just go out and win. Like after you won, did that spark like I want to win the Olympics or I want to win NCAAs, or was it like did I don't know, a light bulb go off or whatever you call it?
Yeah, it was definitely a huge confidence boost for me. I came off my true freshman year. I made to the round of 12, and I was like, I need to get bigger. I need to get stronger. And then I went out and I won worlds. That gave me a lot of confidence, and I was like, I can compete with the best out there. And it was a really good experience for me mentally, and I brought a lot of that momentum with me into the season.
Sure. Do you think that your season went really well, and then obviously this you won senior nationals, you had a really nice showing at the RTC Cup. Is this recent success more due to confidence from Junior Worlds having a great NCAA season, or is it technically getting better?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a mix. I've
Right.
always had, pretty good confidence in myself, but lately I've been, working on a lot of the details things, working with my coaches. They've been, really good, and I have great training partners too. So I'm like, I'm very thankful for, all the things that I have, and definitely all of that stuff, my lifting, the coaching I have is definitely all part of the aspects that have, helped me get a lot better.
Sure. Talk about Sergey Beloglazov. What's his personality like? What's he like, and what's he like then as a coach?
Yeah, it's Sergey's awesome. He's hilarious. He's like, probably the funniest coach we have. He has the best jokes, I think, and it's always really funny, with his Russian accent. I think it's awesome, And one time we were in a sauna with him. We were and he had a USA Speedo on. And I was like, Sergey, why do you have a USA Speedo on? And he said, I wanted to be closer to you guys. And I was like, nice.
Yeah, can't get any
he's really
closer than a
funny.
Speedo.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Um,
He's a great coach. He has he has amazing little details that are just, very, very helpful. And like, he's from Russia, so there's like a lot of things that we've never thought about that he says that are, really simple, you know, pee-wee stuff. And we're just like, wow, that's awesome that we never really thought about it that way.
can you think of an example of one of those like this is a Pee Wee thing, but it's so awesome I never thought of it? And I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but just curious if anything comes to
Yeah,
mind.
there's a lot of stuff like, he'll sometimes like not understand like if someone doesn't understand a move, and he'll be like, that's kindergarten stuff. Like we teach that to our 4-year olds type thing. It, but yeah, there definitely is some moves, just some some chest wrap stuff that I haven't really used, well, like figured out yet, or really done too much to be able to be super good at it.
Does he have any stories from like he was part of that Soviet machine that was just absolutely dominating everything in the world? Just making that team and traveling with them? Did you, any cool tidbits from that era?
Um, I can't think of one off the top of my head. I mean, he has a lot of really interesting stories, and he's been all over, and he's really interesting, to talk to and listen. I know he wrestled. I remember him telling me about him wrestling at, the Foxcatcher, and I thought, that was a pretty cool story that he told me.
Awesome.
Yeah, been to everything.
So your training this spring and summer, whenever you did get back on the mat, was it more of a freestyle or a folk style focus?
Yeah, we've been pretty much doing all freestyle focus, so it's been really good. We're just now transitioning after the RTC Cup back to folk style, but yeah, we've been doing pretty much all freestyle.
Do you like one more than the other?
I used to like folk style more because I didn't really understand freestyle, but the more I learn freestyle is like I just enjoy it so much more. I think the match is a little bit more fast paced, and it goes to my you know, I think I transitioned pretty well from folk style to freestyle. It's kind of just how I wrestle is just, better for freestyle than folk style, I feel like.
Sure.
That fireman's is pretty handy when you can you don't have to actually finish for two. You can just get four. You don't need the takedown, but you're racking up the points with that.
Yeah, exactly. I can just, roll them through real quick and, get 4 points. It's pretty nice.
Yes.
You talked about like I'm not so great in the chest strap, and I'm sure there's some other positions. I mean, I'm sure you get in the room and work on these. Are these things that like outside of the room? Some guys can't turn it off, and they're constantly thinking about positions or techniques or this or that. Is that the case? Do you spend much time outside of practice thinking about situations, techniques,
Yeah, I
whatever you want to
definitely
call it?
yeah, I definitely think a lot about certain positions, especially like, even positions I struggle with in practice. I think about those a lot, and I try to come up with, ideas for me to be able to, beat positions. And like I think the more I visualize, the more I think about these positions, the better I do in practice.
Has that always been the case? As you were growing up, would you think about wrestling outside of the room and then like apply it in the room?
I mean, I guess not really too much, I kind of I like to turn it off and kind of, focus on other stuff. And when I was in the wrestling room is just the time is when I focus on wrestling and I try to get better. And I just kind of tried to turn the rest off during the day.
Sure. Um, so I guess back to the RTC Cup, right? Once it got announced, and I think you guys are in a pool with Wolfpack and Gophers, right? So it was like
Yeah.
clear that there was awesome heavyweights right there, Gable and whoever, or
Quiz.
Quiz, and I guess Tony Nelson as well. What were your thoughts or feelings or emotions coming into it? Yeah, what do you think about? All right, man, I got these studs. Here we go.
Yeah, I just, I thought it was just an amazing opportunity for me to be able to wrestle those guys. I just, this isn't a time where, the RTC Cup, it doesn't really matter too much. The Olympic trials, NCAs is what matters. So, I wanted to get my hands on those guys as much as possible. I wanted to go out there and leave everything I had out there, see how well I would do. And, it was, it was really good for me to be able to, feel those guys out and, build some confidence on how I feel wrestling those guys.
I believe first one was Tony Nelson, two-time NCAA champion. He was a freaking stud. You kind of rolled him up. I mean, you teched him, right? Were you surprised with that at all?
Yeah, I beat him. I beat him 8-2.
Okay,
But I mean, I guess I was. I mean, I've watched Tony for a long time, and I watched a lot of his wrestling, and he's like a brick wall. He's super strong, and he's a grown man, and so it was really cool to be able to wrestle him. I was just trying to go out there and score as many points as possible for my team and myself.
sure. And then the first quiz match, man, I obviously we all know how it went, but you're getting a takedown and a takedown and a takedown. Like he's up 4, 6, 8, 0. What are you thinking? Or is there even time to think, or do you remember having thoughts when like, I remember thinking, holy shit, he's up 8-0. He's like taking him down 4 times in a row. I was shocked.
Yeah, yeah, same thing. I just kind of wanted to go out there, see how I did, score as many points as possible. I was getting on the legs really well. I was finishing good. I was, taking them down. I was wrestling really well, and I was up 8-0, and I think I got a little too excited. I was a little too like oh, like I need to tech him. I kind of rushed myself a little bit, and that's when he got the lace on me. And I haven't felt that lace too many times, and I haven't been laced too many times, but he laced me, and he has a really good lace. He's a veteran guy. He's going to capitalize on that stuff, and he got me in that, and it was hard to come back, but after that match, it gave me a lot of confidence, even though I lost. It gave me a lot of confidence that I could hang with him, and I was really wanting to wrestle him again. I was really glad I got the opportunity to.
Can you describe? I guess it's a mental shift, or I don't know what to call it, but you're up 8-0 from being up 8-0 and on the verge of teching somebody to be like, in 10 seconds or whatever, down by 4. I think he got 12 on that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what does it do to mentally to some what did
Yeah.
it do to you?
Yeah, it was definitely tough, mentally on me. I was right on the brink of trying to finish the match, and then all of a sudden he scores 12 points on me, and I'm just like, wow, like I'm down by 4. And I was just trying to go out there and get some takedowns on him, and he I was rushing stuff too much, and I mean that's what I kind of brought myself into the second match. I was like, I need to keep better composure, when I'm out there wrestling.
Um,
There was a match that you didn't get at the RTC Cup, and we were talking about the NCAA season coming up. Do you have any dates circled? Any opponents or teams that you're looking forward to most?
this is a leading question.
Yeah, I mean,
That's right.
yeah, I mean, of course, I want to wrestle Gable. I've been super excited to wrestle him. I wanted to wrestle him, at NCAAs, and right after Big Tens, I was like, I want to put some more work in. I want to beat this guy, and then I lost out on that opportunity, and it was tough for me, and I've been really itching to get my hands on him, wrestle him some more, and get some mat time against him, and I'm definitely excited to be able to wrestle him.
There was he I think he tweeted a picture I think of when he beat you, and you retweeted and said like I'll see you at trials or something like that. Is that right?
Yeah, it was. I just said like, see you soon.
See you soon. Um,
Yeah.
Have you guys mapped out that schedule? I mean, everything up in the air, COVID, knock on wood, but the NCAAs looks like it's going to be a lot of dual meets, intra-conference, then hopefully an NCAA tournament, and then kind of right into trials. Have you guys figured out, your training schedule or kind of mapped that out a little bit yet?
Yeah, I mean, right now we're still kind of taking it day by day. We don't have a schedule yet, but we're pretty optimistic about the season, about about NCAAs. So that's what we're preparing ourselves for now.
all right. Um, do you do film? Are you a film guy? And if so, do you watch Gable, Gwiz, some of these top guys? Obviously, Gable is the one you want to get your hands on.
Yeah, I definitely watch. I watch my matches. I really enjoy watching wrestling, and I pick up a lot of stuff from watching wrestling, and I watched Gable and Gwiz wrestle all their matches. I watched that a few times and tried to pick up on some stuff, and yeah, I think watching film is really helpful for me.
Okay. Um, okay. I wanna get to this little segment we call wins and whoopings. All right. So I wanna. It's a two-part question. You can answer either one first. But if you think back to all your time from the time you wrestled your first match till this last weekend, I suppose. I'm looking for one very memorable win that sticks out and one very memorable loss that sticks out, and it could be for whatever reason. But and if you need a second to think about it, that's fine. But if you could stop and think back to about one of each and tell us about them, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll just start with my whooping then. You know, I've taken my fair share of whoopings over the years, I think. And, you know, they suck at the time, but, you know, I think they've made me a lot better. But, you know, I mean, the main one that comes to mind definitely is the one from the past weekend of me getting teched because I just, you know, I don't think that score really reflected how well, you know, I did during the match. And then my most memorable win was definitely I mean, I have a few. I think like the one last weekend was definitely huge, beating Gwiz for the, you know, for my team, getting the team win. I think that was awesome. My freshman year, when it came down to me, and it came down to me to win the match against Ohio State. We were at Ohio State, and beating them was my freshman year was just, you know, awesome because they were really good that year. And then you know, beating Cassiope last year at home against Iowa was just a really cool experience with, you know, all the fans there. You know, I really miss all the fans there and, you know, how loud they get. So,
Sure. It's a lot of good big wins.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
start rattling them off. I'm like, yeah, pretty good.
Have you had the duel come down to you a lot in your life?
yeah, I mean pretty decently. I mean, I was a 220 all through high school. My I just started being a heavyweight in college, so it's came down to me a lot more. But you know, I really like when it comes down to me. You know, I have a lot of confidence in myself. I would rather it be put on me than someone else, you know, and I think I always, you know, wrestle pretty well under pressure, and you know, I always feel good, yeah, feel good about when it comes down to me.
Um, have you ever lost when it came down to you?
Um, I mean, probably. I mean, there's definitely been times where I I've like needed to get a pin or something, and like I might have not have got enough points for the team for the dual win, and you know
Sure.
that's still like almost as bad as losing sometimes, losing for your team, and you know that really sucks.
All right, cool, man. Well, great. I love this conversation, and I think we're gonna bring our next guest on, and we'll do the overlapping question, which I was telling you about. Is Jordan Oliver, who's gonna be wrestling in the 180-pound 8-man bracket a week from Friday. And
150, 150,
what I say?
Might have said
180.
195.
180? No, no, 150.
I weighed that though. I weighed that though.
You
Yeah, at one point, yeah.
Fair enough. I hope you know right now. But anyways, we got the two of you here. I'm gonna have you each ask each other a question. We'll start with you, Mason. If you got a question for Jo, let her rip.
Um, my question is, I want to know where you got your nickname from, the Joker.
Uh Man, I think I take on a lot of nicknames. The Joker, I love just because it's almost the villain, right? There became a time in my career where I think it was 2017. I kind of took it on because I kind of felt uh, I was a little bit angry. I was a little bit angry. I came into the U.S. Open and everybody was picking, different guys to win it, right?
Remember
They were
that?
picking Rutherford, they were picking Molinaro, and not to knock those guys. They're great wrestlers, and I've taken losses to them. But that year, I felt it was disrespectful. Not disrespectful, but I took it to heart. So to me, it was kind of okay. I went from being the good guy everybody's picking, uh, and maybe I lost a couple times, right? So everybody kind of just forgot about me and was like, "Hey, we're gonna go with these up and comers, the Zane Train, Frank Molinaro, or whoever it might be." So I kind of played. It kind of switched on me, right? So I kind of became the villain, and at the time, it was a huge movie, and I loved it. And um, I kind of played the part as a villain. I went from good to bad. Uh, so why so serious? And it was just it just fit the role of me, right? So I could play the good guy, I could play the villain, but the Joker seemed to fit me.
Yeah.
I even went and got the tattoo on the back of my calf,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, that's awesome.
so there's a little backstory to it. not too much of a backstory, but a lot of my tattoos come from my life story, things that are happening in my life. I like to put down and put pieces of art on my body.
Nice. Yeah, I remember that. 2017.
Yeah, it was a good tournament
I
for
think
you.
I think you gave me the finger. You wagged the finger at me after you won. I remember that.
Yeah.
What did I do?
Hey, that's the best thing.
Tough love,
No matter who
tough
you
love.
pick,
It's all good.
Having someone prove your picks wrong is great because then it feels like, hey, I helped motivate that. I helped him. Whoever.
I was only trying to help.
I know. I think every time I've been picked against, I've won, and every time I've been picked, I lost. So I was like, hey.
Yeah, then it's
plays
that's
out
just the
good.
way it goes.
Awesome.
Right.
Oh, great. I'm glad to know that. It's good. That's good backstory about the tattoo and everything else. Jordan, you got a question for Mason?
First and foremost, congrats from the past weekend. Great
Yeah,
show
thank
on
you.
Good Wrestling. I love big
Appreciate
guys that get on shots and are scoring a lot. You're very exciting to watch. My question,
you.
I got two for you. I got two. After losing the first match to Gwiz, right, you come back in the second match, a ton more pressure, right? In the first match, you're up 8-0 and catches you in the lace. The second match, you come back with the same game plan. Mentally, where are you at? Is it execute what you were doing the first match since you were so successful and had just a little bit of let up that let Gwiz get back in the match? And with that being said, is it a lot more pressure? But I was listening to most of your interview here, and I know you like being the guy it comes down to. So that kind of almost answers the question. But mentally, some guys drop matches, whether it's high school, college, international in this case, and you're wrestling, the head honcho of your weight class, right? You drop the first match. What is your mentality coming back into the second match, and how do you approach it?
Yeah, well, I was up 8-0, and I mean that gave me a lot of confidence. Getting those takedowns, getting to my scores. I think that gave me a lot of confidence. I could hang with him, and then I gave up the lace, and that was a big pivotal moment for me. I was super disappointed after the match, but it gave me a lot of confidence in myself. And as soon as the match ended, I was like, I gotta learn how to defend that lace better. He's got a really good lace. I gotta learn how to defend that better, and I can't let that happen again. So then, going into the second match, I was like, I'm gonna do fine. I'm gonna win. If he can't get that lace on me, I'm gonna get to my attacks just as much as before. I'm gonna be offensive as possible. I'm gonna try to keep my composure during the match, and I thought it was a great, it was a lot of fun. It was I have a lot of respect for him for taking that another match against me, and I think that's awesome that he did that. And it was coming down to me. I loved it, and getting that win for my team was just awesome.
Just a
Awesome.
little bit of extra hype on it. And one more
Yeah.
question. You
Go
can
for it.
answer it, you can't. What are you doing to help
Yeah.
Bajrang?
What am I doing? Do you not want
I'm
me
just
to
kidding.
help him
I'm
out
kidding.
at all?
No, no, no.
No, that's a good question.
I think it's great. I was just playing.
That's right, because
just-
Bajrang's
I
up
know
in
he's- I know-
Michigan.
Yeah, yeah. So I read that 2 days ago. So I texted Darringer, just joking around. I'm like, hey, don't let any secrets out here, kid. Don't let any secrets out. But
Yeah.
Team Orange. Awesome. All right, man. Well, Mason, we'll let you get on with your day. Any parting words before we let you go?
Thank you for having me. I guess I'll just shout out, my family, my coaches, my amazing support system I have, and yeah, thank you guys, and good luck, Jordan.
Awesome.
thank you. I
Thanks,
appreciate
Mason.
that,
Have a great day, man. Great job last
Yeah,
weekend.
thank you.
All right, thanks. All right, we continue on with J.O. 150-pound
Yes,
bracket.
yes.
Can't believe I said 180.
150. I could
be a
wrestle
fun
in the 180 too.
Yeah.
When's the last time you weighed 180?
I think probably a week to 9 days before the North match, right? Because I accepted, I was only lifting, right? So when I heard the Olympics got canceled, right, I got on this wave of just protein, creatine, and lifting 4 times a week to 5 times a week, right?
Man, bulk
Uh,
season.
and the max I hit, dude, it was real bulk season. I was like 185. I was sitting down sweating, like just sitting on my couch sweating. I'm like, this isn't good, right?
What?
But we were training a little bit. We were training here and there, but then I got the call to wrestle Nolf, and it was about, we were about 10 to 12 days out. And Kenny's like, there's no way you can wrestle this big. You need to at least get to 165. Like, you're not going to be able to move your feet, right? So that was probably the last time I got up that high. And then right after Nolf, of course, we lost. Kenny's like, man, we're back on it. We're in the room every day again. So
Yeah.
it was good. We got back in there, start playing and wrestling around. So hopefully I never see that again.
When did you? So, like you said, after the North match, you got in the room. I don't know, playing around, messing around. Like, when did you dial down and buckle down and start training? Was it not until you heard about this 150, or was it sometime before that?
I think I got into training maybe it might have been three weeks out before I heard about the tournament.
Sure.
So then we were training and the tournament came about and uh, it gave me that excitement again and gave me that emphasis of that focus. All right, we're going to get down. We're starting to dial in on our weight, our diet, our nutrition, uh, and also our wrestling, competing at that low weight again. So really it dialed me in and it gave us, this isn't not to knock any international tournament, right? This is not the Bill Farrell. This is not the U.S. Open where you can draw Joe Schmo first round,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You're coming to this 8-man bracket, and it's like, boom, you got to hit the ground running, right? We had 8 of the top guys, 7 of them here in the U.S. at the weight class, and they're all great wrestlers. They all wrestle hard and bring different things to the table. And then we have our special guest, who's Bajrang, who's coming in, which I've wrestled twice before, and one of them losing a match to him last year, close one, but it's exciting. It gives you something to get excited for, to dial in on, and it's another test, another competition before the big dance, will be in April, right?
Yep.
So some of these guys I've never gotten to wrestle. So it'll be good to get my hands on it and mix it up with them. And it's just it's a test for myself to see where I'm at, what I need to get better on, what I need to work on. And also it's helping me, keep my weight gauged and very disciplined on that. That's always been a big aspect.
Sure. I saw you with the gallon of water there. There you go. What do you weigh right now? Or what do most days?
Well,
This.
I'm coming into practices at 158.
Okay.
I'm leaving practice at like 152. No weight cut emphasized. Um, I got a really good nutritional plan and diet, especially following last year at 143. Um, so that's never an issue, but we want to stay close to what we're going to compete at, right? I don't want to come in too low because I lose, 7 to 10 pounds of practice,
Yeah.
right? So we're not even focused on the weight. We're dialing in on just hydrating the body, keeping the body hydrated and strong. And then, the last day will be, weight specific, like I always did last year. We train all the days that I can get to train and better myself and make the most out of the day. I'm going to do that and I'm going to maximize my workouts, especially going into an event like this. And then the last day, to 2 days will be weight specific, start cutting back on the water and watching the intake and making sure I'm doing weight specific training. But right now it's just, staying sharp with my wrestling, making sure I'm feeling good. So, right now I probably weigh, halfway through the gallon, I'm about 59, 60, right? But I still have wrestling this afternoon and I'll touch close to down. So we don't worry about that I won't worry about that until I get there and it's Friday morning,
Yeah.
right? The day of competition, and
Yeah.
we'll do weight specific stuff and probably won't even be too much weight specific stuff. 150 is a big difference than 143,
Yeah. That's 7
right?
pounds.
7 pounds is a little big of a difference, so it's not too bad, just making sure I took care of it ahead of time, right? I
Yeah.
used to be very, very dumb sometimes, and my younger self, and try to cut it in the last 2 weeks, and it never worked out too good.
Can you give us a story about your younger, dumber self? One time when like you just did it the wrong way and maybe you lost, or maybe you felt like crap and you didn't compete well?
Ah, man, that can go all the way back to, you know, freshman year in college was really rough for me.
Yeah.
Really rough. It was like I cut weight in high school a little bit, but I didn't know what cutting weight was.
Hmm.
Right? So, um, I mean, my first time I ever got down to 133 to compete in Gallagher was maybe the roughest. Right? I actually there's that one, right? I was about 6 pounds over. I was coming in to practice. We finished the practice, so I'm about 139, and we're about to wrestle Arizona State. The backstory is Ben Ashmore just transferred from Oklahoma State, so there's like 10 times more emphasis on this match. John's like, you better not, lose to this guy. He just came from the cowboy country, right? So it was a lot more on the line. And Ben was a great wrestler, but I came in, I was 6 pounds, and we had an afternoon practice. And I walked over and I went to the student union. So in our student union, there's like Chick-fil-A, Jamba Juice, all of these like different things, right?
Uh-huh.
And if you have on your student ID, it's called your bursar card. It's basically a credit card for the school.
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting there and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get some Chick-fil-A. I'll come in 7, 8 over, right? And I didn't know diet or anything. I didn't care. Whatever tasted good, that's the way I was going, right? I got Chick-fil-A, and I'm like, you know what? That was probably not even a pound. Let me get some Jamba Juice. Got a Jamba Juice. And then before you know it, it's like I can't stop eating and drinking, right? So I'm walking to practice, and I already know how much I'm over, so I like suit up. I get dressed before practice. I walk to practice dressed. The only thing I got to put on is my shoes. Right? I get in there, and John is usually, he can look at you, especially me because we wrestled around the same weight class. I walk in, and John's standing next to the scale, and I'm like, oh crap. You know what I mean? Like, turn around, and I try to get out the room, and he's like, Oliver, get in here. Right?
Yeah.
I step on the scale, and I before I step on, I'm like, I broke, John. I broke. He's like, what do you mean you broke? I'm like, I just broke. I couldn't stop eating in the student union. He's like, what? How much? Step on. And I step on with my clothes, and I'm like 16 and a half pounds over.
Oh.
Right? So he's like, strip them down. Strip them down. I'm 14 the day of.
Oh.
So, well, no, the day
You went
the day
from
before, but
16.
it's
Sorry.
right
Go
the day
ahead.
before. So, no, you're fine. And I start cutting weight. And like John cuts practice. He's like, all right, guys, get a drink. And like I turn to go get a drink, and John's like, keep drilling. You keep drilling. So I'm just sitting there repping. Long story short is I come in the next day, I'm 2 pounds over. I lost 12 pounds that practice.
Man.
I get the last two off, but I'm in like full cramps wrestling Ashmore. I literally were wrestling the match. My calves are cramping, my shoulders might be cramps. Um, and man, the first minute of the match, I'm seeing the little dots.
Yep.
I'm like, this ain't good. We're gonna have to figure out a way to win, right? Long story short is I'm losing literally by a point with 10 seconds left and go to take a shot. God forbid we're in Stillwater because he accidentally catches my singlet and boom, technical 1 point and we're in overtime. I'm like, part of me is like, yes, we're in overtime. I have a chance to win this match. The other part of me 75% of me is like, no,
More
I
wrestling.
still got to finish this. Yes, I still got to finish this match. So we end up going to overtime, and I take him down for the win. But immediately I come off the mat, and I couldn't even make it like out of the door. I like turn behind the bleachers so nobody can see me, and I just start throwing up right in this big trash can. And I'm just sitting there, and John's like, go upstairs so nobody sees you. I'm like, John, I can't make it, coach. I can't make it. I just got my head
This is
down.
it. As far as
And
I
it
get.
drug the whole night. Like, I'm literally trying to like put fluids in after the match, and I'm like getting sick. I'm like dry heaving. I'm like, what is wrong? So that was one. And then the other one was, I'll make this one quick, was I wrestled Boris in Reno my freshman year in college. Right, this is the reason probably John didn't want me to go home for Christmas anymore. Right, after my freshman year, I go and beat Boris six. I think it's like 6-0 in Reno finals, and we come back. He's like, "I'll let you go home, but you got to be back to 26." Me being Jordan, dumb Jordan, I don't come back until the 27th or 28th. Right, so I get back. On top of it, I'm 17 pounds over. The cut weight. So a week before I beat Boris 6-0, he comes into the house, into Stillwater, and beats me 6-0. But we're both dead, right? I cut the weight, I make weight, and it's a 12-point swing. John's like, after that, John's like, you're done. No more going home for Christmas. If you do, it's one day. You know,
You live in Stillwater.
those were the two. Yes, those are the two big ones, like that are very, very memorable to me. That was like tough, and I was like, I was hard headed because obviously I had more after that,
Yeah.
right? It took me a while to learn, but you know, those two really stand out because those were two really tough matches. That at one point in the match, in the first one, I'm like, I can care less if this match ends. Like, just end it, please.
Get me off the mat.
And then the second one was a 12-point swing. I'm like, it ended, the match ended with me on my back. And if you know wrestling, right, there's like time on a clock. Cal Poly, this is when Mark Perry was there, and they almost beat us. Uh, I didn't even have enough energy to like bridge, but I knew I couldn't give up the pin. So I did like the kickstand where you just post your hand on your back and you have the elbow on the mat.
Yeah.
And everybody's screaming. I have like no fight. I'm like, there's no way I'm bridging. I'm just not getting pinned. In the last 20 seconds, I just stay in the kickstand right there and just feet dangling to the side. I'm like, I can't even post them in bridge right now.
I'm picturing you in the student union just praying. Getting some more Chick-fil-A. Jamba Juice. I'll suit up for practice.
And at the time, I'm drinking Sprite and Coke and Mountain Dew. There's no water involved. I'm like, water don't taste good, but I'm gonna lose this weight anyway.
That's a great. I mean, like, you really enjoyed that time in the student union, right? I mean, for that one little
I don't know if
big
it was
meal.
worth it.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying,
Man.
hey, you did get a nice meal.
3 nice meals.
Real nice meal. There's a couple, and then after I was like, what did I do? What did I do?
Well, that's good that weight management's a little different now. You mentioned.
I hope.
Yeah, you mentioned Kenny Monday was helping you, or getting you on a schedule, and when you had competition, that helps you stay focused and all that. What's it like having that
Right.
room? You have Kenny Monday, a legend, obviously Olympic gold. You have Coleman Scott and Jamil Kelly, who both have Olympic medals. I mean, that's got to rub off somehow. How does that environment help?
It's awesome, honestly. You know, you have guys that you can very much put your full trust into. You know what they tell you, and sometimes they'll tell you something to do, and you know it's just to try to break you. But you're like, whatever these guys say, I'm gonna do. Right? These guys have been at the top level. And Coleman, I look at Coleman and Jamil. Kenny was very successful, 3 Olympic teams, right? Multiple world teams, champ. I look at Coleman and Jamil, and they're almost in, I can really, really relate to them because they never made a team except the Olympic team.
Hmm.
right? There was years where they went with not making a team, and all of a sudden, boom, they make the Olympic team, boom, they go get the Olympic silver medal and Olympic bronze medal. And even having guys like Tony Ramos, who's been very dominant and just came up short making the Olympic team, was on world teams. These guys know what it takes, and they've been there multiple times, right? So they can see things, but it's very creative room, right? It's not too much. All right, we need to do this. We need to do this. It's they know me as a wrestler, as a person, and they open up the doors for me to be creative, but also, you know, making sure they're touching up on my key habits. If I come out of position here, you got to go here. You got to do this. When you can't get lazy in your ties, you got to clear right away. Those things are very, very helpful because as deep of wrestling I go, and I love to chain wrestle, and I know this and I know that. I know that. Sometimes it takes them to be like, hey, get back to the basics, right? Fight, get to the center, don't hang your hands, throw the fakes when needed. When you get to the shot, stop trying to limp arm and do all this flashy stuff. Get to the grind single, finish it. So it's motivating, but it's also relieving knowing, okay, I can almost put my practice and my career in these guys' hands and know I'm 100% safe, right? Whatever they tell me, whatever they tell me to do, whatever they want me to do, I know it's towards the ultimate goal. It's not even necessarily towards the 150-man bracket, right? It's not towards Olympic trials, right? We're looking at Rashidov and Bajrang and Autogoro. We're looking at the top guys in the world, right? And to beat the top guys in the world, along that process, I don't gotta win the 150-man pound bracket, but that's in the process. Some of these guys I gotta beat, and I want to dominate, and I want to beat, and I'll have to beat later down the road. So let's instill it in them right now that this is my weight for the taking. And then, if I want to be the Olympic champ, I got to win the Olympic trials. So those will come along in the journey. But for right now, it's what is going to make Jordan Oliver the best Jordan Oliver, right? To win the Olympic title. I don't like to necessarily train for these guys, but I'm watching their wrestling. I'm watching habits and things that they do. And they're very disciplined. They're very gritty. And they know their positions very well. So, we work on things that are going to make, me the best version of myself, but also put me on top of that podium in Tokyo.
You were going through their coaching staff a little bit at UNC and the different way that guys you work with different coaches. I'm interested to know about. I mean, I assume I'm pretty sure you and Tony Ramos, everything's cool. But was there a point in time when you guys wrestled in college? He upset you and all that. Was there a time when it was like it wasn't quite cool yet, or awkward, or was there like having to warm up to each other kind of thing at all?
No, me and T-Ram hit it off right away. I respect him. When he did upset me, to him it wasn't an upset, right?
Right.
Top competitors. This guy truly believes he can beat me, and he went out and beat me. With that being said, I understand the idea of it, the mentality of it, Iowa, Oklahoma State, but now we're on the same team. Now we're pushing towards the same goal. And you have some things in your toolbox that can honestly help me with my wrestling and some of the competitors that I'll be facing. So right away it was hey, what can you show me? What am I doing wrong? How can I get better in my hand fight? How can I get better at absorbing guys in the hand fight and attacking them as well? Right. So he brought almost this different spectrum and realm to my wrestling, with just understanding the hand fight, where guys want to go, how to clear things, and also staying in position and get to my attacks from clearing. Last year, I'd go with Coleman 45 minutes and go with some of the guys, and then the last 20 minutes would be Ramos, just knowing he's going to stay hands down, bring heavy hands, and try to force you to take bad shots and pull you into bad positions. And uh, honestly, the first day he kicked my ass. Oh, sorry, kicked my butt. I mean, pulling on my head, and I'm like, I'm not like physically just wearing me down. After 5 minutes, I'm like, how did this dude wrestle 57? Like, I don't understand it, right?
Yeah.
But slowly, we start breaking it down and understanding. And now I'm hand fighting Tony hard, not giving up any positions, not giving up shots, not getting snapped. And also now I'm creating offense and getting to my score. So Tony's been a huge help in just understanding that side of things.
Sure. You talked about preparing for the 8-man, but ultimately it's the Olympic gold, right? And the one guy who has beaten you in the 8-man is Bajrang. I think you were winning in the second, and like he scored off of your attack, right? For the go ahead.
Yes. I believe it was my flip over, but
Yeah, fair enough.
it plays out how it plays, right? I lost, so technically everybody, the judges, thought it was his attack, and I was winning at the time, and last year I was greedy. I still am greedy. I want to score as many points as I can, especially coming off of the first time we wrestled in 2018 or 2019 in Bulgaria, where I went up 3 and he ran 12 straight points on me. I almost collapsed. I couldn't even stand up. Right. So we wrestled the second time, and I bring the match to him. There's a couple things I could have done different. But yes, he's 2-0 against me. And also, um, there's things I think I can change. And we're going to test them out here. I think I need to stay on, my offense a lot more rather than worrying about catching this guy's hands and is he going to bring pressure, because my conditioning is great. So I don't need to worry about, second guessing, am I going to have enough juice at the end of the second period if I need to go get a score, which I believed I did last year. Just, things happen in wrestling, right? He was the better man that day, and he came out with the win. He's a great wrestler. And then, I've lost to James Green as well at 70 kilos,
Yeah.
right? In the best of 3 finals at the NYAC. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. You lost the Bajrang 12-3 and then 4-3. What was the difference? Why were you able to close that gap?
I think, my mindset, my mindset of knowing I'm in good shape. I can attack for 30 minutes if I need to wrestle 30 minutes, right? So knowing the pressure he brings, it was part of me knowing that I can accept his pressure and attack him when I need to and score. Uh, and we got in a little bit of a situation where it took a minute and 30, minute and 40 off the clock in the second period. So there wasn't as much action in the second as there was in the first. Um, I think the first match I sat back, I was questioning my condition, and it was my first tournament back, coming off of uh, the whole little hiccup with USADA,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it was my first time coming back to making scratch, but same day. Right
Oh, yeah.
before it was day before weigh in, and me thinking it's a genius idea. I go to Bulgaria and I'm making scratch and then scratch the second day. So it was a 2-day weigh-in, first time ever. I wrestled great the first day. It was hard off the scale, but the second day I was in trouble wrestling Bacharach. And I had a big weight cut the second night. I had to cut 15 pounds in between days. And I knew he was a pressure wrestler, and I jumped up 3-0. And instead of thinking offensively, I went to defensive thinking.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not a defensive wrestler, right? So my mind started getting overwhelmed. And once the mind goes, the body goes, right? So I'm like, oh my God, I'm tired. He's stepping on my foot. Pick up your foot, Jordan. Step on my foot again. I'm like, no. And then it was an avalanche after that. We went downhill. He was just single leg snatching me, picking my leg up, throwing me out of bounds. I'm just like, please, Bill, like, get an injury time for me or something. Tell him I'm cramping. Give me some water. But so I think it was the mindset and really coming back, and for the first time I felt the 2-day weigh-in. But those are just, excuses, right? You got to do better with mindset. You got to be ready to attack. You got to be ready to wrestle a war for an hour long if that's what it's going to take to win it.
Yeah.
Right. So I think, mindset and coming back on 2-day weigh-in, scratch,
Yeah.
played a little bit of a toll on that first one. Second one was I was better calculated and mentally ready,
Yeah. Well, I mean, from where I'm sitting, 2019 was the most impressive form of Jordan Burroughs, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, Jordan Oliver. Sorry.
Jordan's a popular name
Burroughs
for.
The other guy's pretty good too.
Yeah.
But is that mindset as much as anything else, or is it techniques and tactics and game plans and stuff?
There's not too much of, tactics where we're like strategic, right? It's more of habits and mindset, we train hard every day. And it's habits, I train my legs to be able to fake and move for 2 hours, right? It's confidence that I have in my training that I built over time, that I know for 6 minutes that I can go out and wrestle like a crazy man, right? And it's not that I didn't think I could do that in previous years. It's I didn't put in the work to have the conditioning to grind out takedown after takedown after takedown,
Yeah.
and me be ready to come back in the second period and continue doing that, right? I think I built the confidence in the conditioning in my body to know that I can come back and I can shoot 30 hard shots and have the hardest grind out finishes there is and come back and shoot 30 more. I'm ready for it, right? So I put myself in these positions, but I prepare for the worst. We do the right things. We condition, we train our body. So, I mean, the key is to always dominate, right? But if you got to win a 3-3, a 3-2 match, I can do that as well, right? So it's being able to wrestle like a madman, but my body's conditioned to have the habits and hold the positions that I need to not give up scores, to not let guys in on the dive-in single and just push me out,
Yep.
right? And in previous years, I used to, even last year, the NYAC, look, right? One of my key matches I looked at before the U.S. Open is wrestling Molinaro, right? I have 8 points. He has 6 points. The match is 8-6, but he has 6 push-outs. No wrestling position, grind, takedown, maybe a turn, a head pinch, none of that, right? So I'm looking at that and I'm like, how can I, like me and Kenny are like, how do we separate the gap here? Because I don't give out push outs. I'm on route to tech this guy, right? So we made a big adjustment of really conditioning ourselves to, we're fighting for the center. We're fighting in every position, and we're in very detailed and disciplined position when we're moving. Sometimes I tend to come out of position when I move or dance a little bit and guys dive in, or, dive in on a shot, heavy club, jump to another shot. I'm out of position a little bit, so I got to overcompensate on my reactions. But now I'm able to hold, my position. Now I'm not overcompensating. Now I'm not giving up those little windows where the top level guys can take advantage of. And some of those positions are now turning into my scores. And you look at the U.S. Open, one big thing was don't give out any push-outs. It just so happened I was catching double legs and laces. So I was like, thank God.
Blowing through people. It was crazy. Last thing. Did you watch the RTC Cup? Some of it.
I did.
And James Green was the only guy that's wrestling the 150 that was at the Cup. And it's interesting because he's coming down. What did you think of James, his performance, the way he looked?
I think James looked good. You know, it's a tall task for him to be 74 kilos, right? And then he makes the decision to make 150, which is 68 kilos, right? Or around that area, and go and compete against top level guys, right? Echemendia, uh, you got like Kevin Jack, you got Cantelio, you got Yanni, right? So it's not like he's just coming out and wrestling, I'll just say as Joe Schmoes,
Yeah.
right? He's coming out, first time he accepts the challenge, he gets down to 150, right? And he goes and performs against very high level competition, right? With that being said, I think that says a lot about James's character and you know just the person he is. James is going to be a bear at 65. Right, 65 is another ballpark. It's still 7 more pounds, but uh, with him making the decision and being able to turn around that quick and make the weight, I think he looked good, right? And he'll take away things that he needs to improve from there, especially you know whether it's pop, whether it's managing his weight, if he needs his legs under him more, his attack rate. Um, but that wasn't an easy task to do. So I think James looks good, and it's James Green, right? You're never going to take the name from him. The guy's good. He can wrestle, and he's very good at blow through and getting to his lace, and he's strong in this position. So um, I'm excited. I'm excited to wrestle James. He has 2 matches against me, and you know, revenge. Revenge is always nice, but you know, accepting the challenge, right? Accepting a new competitor that's high level, has a silver medal in the world championships, has been at the big stage. Uh, and this is just another guy that's put in front of me that I have to go through. Hey, there's no other option. So, uh, you know, I think James is going to bring the war. He, like I said, he's a great competitor. He's a great athlete, and you know, he's been successful at almost all the levels, right? And he had great competition, and he had 2 losses, right? And they were both to Yanni. So
Yeah.
I think all I got to do is say Yanni. Yanni's very great. You know, he's
We all know
one of the weirdest wrestlers there is.
that.
You're like, how did you do that? Like, and it's just his like gyroscope in his body, the things he does. It's like, okay, Yanni's over here. Everybody else go over there because like just his capabilities with his flexibility and just his body control is amazing. You know, you get to see Yanni compete, and they were both close matches. I think it was 3-3, 4-4.
Yep.
Yep. I think so.
Uh, so, you know, those are eyelash away from winning. You know, the second one, he thought he pushed him out. Uh, so, and people see them scores, and that's a lot of wrestling. I watched the matches. There's a lot of strategic hand fight and position. There's a lot of wrestling that goes into those scores, right? It doesn't have to be a 10-5 with those guys. Those guys were very calculated and strategic in the things they do, and they knew each other enough to know, okay, I can't be here. I can't be here. And oh, okay, he got me once there, but he's not going to get me again, right? It's very high level stuff. Um, so I think he looked good, and you know, I only wish the best for those guys, right? And to bring their A game when they come to the 150-pound bracket, because you want to wrestle the best version of it, every one of them,
Yep.
right? Whether
Okay.
it's any of the 8 guys.
Mm-hmm.
Should you win the tournament and pocket a cool 25K, what do you do with it?
I think me and my family have a great Christmas. I get my girlfriend really something special. But you know, money's great. Money is great. I think the competition is more, but the 25K I'd like to save. I like the bigger picture, right? Is Olympics, right? So that could be very helpful for my training and my necessities going forward at what I need to do. Uh, and also, you know, if I want to go and have somebody come in or go somewhere and go and train, I think it could be really helpful in what I need to accomplish this year. right? It'll give me a pillow not to even have to worry about any financial stability. I might even be able to go to Sunkist or Tar Heel Wrestling Club and be like, hey, I don't need my check this week, if but I'll never do that.
I was gonna say, well, you could, but
But it gives me a cushion, right? It gives me that financial stability, uh, which I have, but it gives me a pillow then, right? And I can go and do maybe some extra things that I'm not doing, or go and get extra help, or maybe bring a guy in, or go somewhere and the end goal is I'm going to use that 25K to get me 250K and a gold medal, right? So it's an investment.
I dig it. Awesome. Well, Jordan, it's been fun hanging out with you and chatting this morning. I guess it's afternoon actually now, at least where you are. Any parting words for us before we let you go on?
No, thank you guys. Appreciate the time and bringing me on. Always have love for FloWrestling, and can't wait to come and get that new shirt. I got the old one. I got the original FloWrestling shirt. I still have that. I was gifted when I think the first duel I wore was in OU. So
I remember that.
I got all the collections of the FloWrestling shirts. So happy to get that one, but excited to come see you guys and come perform, put on a show for the fans. And always shout out to my club, Sunkist, Tar Heel Wrestling Club, Adidas, and all my sponsors. It was, I appreciate all they do, and I appreciate all you guys do for the sport, and can't wait to see you.
Yeah,
awesome, Jordan.
Same.
Looking forward to it. We'll see you just about a week, probably week and a day or something like that. So best of luck to you then, and keep it going.
Thank you.
All right, have a great day,
See you
Jordan.
soon.
Thanks. Yep. All right.
Some good stories.
I can't stop thinking about it with the student union.
and then you're on the scale and there's John Smith and you're just like, how do I explain that?
I broke. I broke.
It's kid just had to start shoveling food. Had to keep going.
Yeah. Well, he's back down near 150 and ready to roll.
Of young Jordan and then current Jordan and how he can reflect, and I'd almost want to hear what he would say to a young Jordan. Maybe probably doesn't change anything because then look at all the things that he's done and he's grown and learned from those. But I can't wait to see him compete. I mean, he is like thinking back to those Bajrang matches. Both of those guys, they attack so much, constantly on people's legs. You're gonna have so much wrestling in those matches
if they wrestle.
Yeah, and just in that 8-man bracket in general, it's gonna be minute to minute wrestling. Whatever the score says, like Jordan said, there's a lot of wrestling that goes into keeping scores close. So
the bracket for that 8-man tournament will come out tomorrow evening, I believe 7 p.m. Central.
Are we breaking the news that we will be breaking the news of the bracket?
I guess we are. There it is.
Exclusive, Bader Show exclusive.
All right. Well, that's going to do it. So heck of a show, heck of a week. We're out of here. For Anders Bay, I'm Mark Bader. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see y'all next time.